Thank you for listening to this episode of Changes Big and Small. If you're a woman who spent years giving to your family, your work, and your community, but now find yourself wondering, is there more for me? You're in the right place. I'm Coach Damianne, your host as we explore small steps that can help you make big changes to build a life that you want. Today we're talking about something that touches every part of our lives, the importance of relationships, family, friendships, and building intentional community for a joyful life. If you ever felt like you want more connection, more laughter, or simply more people who get you, this episode is for you. Let's start by talking about desire. For many of us, desire can feel a bit taboo or even like a luxury. We're so used to focusing on what everyone else needs that we rarely pause to ask ourselves, what do I truly want? This is especially true when it comes to our relationships and community. One woman I spoke to recently shared, I just don't know how to make space for that. And another said, I've let family and work consume everything, and I want to get back to what lights me up. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Wanting more joy, more connection, more fulfillment isn't selfish. It's a sign you're ready to live more fully and authentically. So I invite you right now to give yourself permission to want more. Maybe you want more deep conversations, more laughter, more spaces where you feel seen and valued. You don't have to settle for just getting by. You are allowed to want more, and you're allowed to pursue it. If you want to explore this question further, set aside 5 minutes today and grab a journal or use your voice notes app and ask yourself, what types of connections or community would light me up? Let your mind wander and don't judge or limit your answers. Write or speak freely even if your desires feel big or if they feel out of reach. We're often taught to measure our lives by milestones, such as graduations, career achievements, even family roles, or we're ticking off boxes on someone else's list. But true fulfillment is so much deeper. It's about feeling seen, valued, and truly connected. Imagine waking up excited for the day ahead, not because of a packed schedule, but because you know you'll connect with people who actually get you, friends who lift you up. Maybe it's a heartfelt conversation over coffee, a walk with a friend that you can truly be yourself with, or a text exchange that makes you smile. That's what fulfillment looks like, small, meaningful moments of connection. One listener told me, I want to have a few close friends in my city. And another said, I want to feel like I have a full life. Do either of those statements resonate with you? Either way, you can absolutely have the life you want. Take a few quiet moments to visualize your ideal day or week. If it's safe for you to do so you're not driving, close your eyes and picture what does your most fulfilling day look like? Who are you spending it with? What activities or conversations are you having and do they light you up? How do you feel in the person's presence? If you feel inspired, you can jot down some notes or draw a vision, sketch it out. What I really want you to do here is notice who shows up. This may well be a signal for you of where you want more connection in your life. Tune in. Personally, I feel a lot of gratitude for the fact that I have friends all over the world. I did this activity a few months ago, and because this was my ideal day and I could do whatever I wanted, I visited friends in many different countries. Still, there is room in my life for more friends, people who are local that I can spend time with without flying hundreds of miles, people I want to visit me when I'm sick, and who are happy to have me reach out to them. Building new connections or deepening existing ones can feel overwhelming, especially if you're out of practice or you're unsure where to start. So if you're a woman in midlife, maybe it's been many years where you've been taking care of other people and you haven't really thought about creating new friends. And recently you noticed that you want more people in your life that you can spend time with, who see you, who you enjoy having in your life, and who enjoys having you in their life. I'm very aware that it means putting yourself out there, opening up yourself to rejection, or possibly even embarrassment. But you know what? We're all figuring it out. You're not the only one who wants more connection, and you have to be looking actively in order to identify a good match, or in order to be able to reignite an old relationship. Maybe it feels good to start by reaching out to an old friend you haven't spoken to in a while. Or maybe you want to join a local group that sparks your interest. Or even start a conversation with a neighbor. Even the smallest actions, something as simple as a text, a smile, a compliment, a friendly comment, can open the door to new possibilities. One listener shared that they started going to community events. And even though it felt awkward, they kept up with it because it helped them look at the world and look at their relationships a little bit differently. It's those small steps that can help you build new friendship. For myself, when I moved to Prague, I started going to Internations events. Internations is a group that appeals to both expats and locals in Prague, and there are quite a few activities that happen. And today, I have friends that I made from that group 8 years ago, 10 years ago when I first moved to Prague. Now, I've started going to WeWork to work more often, and I've been thinking about how to create connections there. I have met one so far, but it turns out he doesn't live in Prague. So I need to show up in a way that is brave and in a way that is inviting. And this is the same thing that I am sharing with you. So there's a process you can follow if you want to make connections more accessible. Think of one person you'd like to reconnect with or get to know better, and decide on a simple action. Could you send a text, ask to meet for coffee, or is it just a matter of saying hello? If joining a group feels more comfortable, look up local events that you're interested in or online gatherings and sign up. And then remember to celebrate yourself for taking action, no matter how small it is. If you want more inspiration, you can check out my conversation with Kat Velos on building meaningful friendships and community. That link will be in the show notes. So think about community as a beautiful living garden. Just like a garden, your relationships need care, attention, and a bit of patience sometimes to truly flourish. You wouldn't expect flowers to bloom overnight, and the same is true for building meaningful connections. A thriving community isn't about having dozens of acquaintances or being busy every night of the week. It's about cultivating a circle of people who see you, value you, and support you through your experience of life. And you should want to do the same for them. These relationships may be vibrant and blooming, and others might need a bit more sunlight and nurturing to grow. So here are 3 action steps that were inspired by the episodes with Kat Velos. 1. Make a list of people who make you feel seen and heard. 2. Reflect. Who brings me joy? Who supports my growth? And 3. Choose one relationship from your list or your reflection to nurture this week. You can send a message, schedule a chat, or share something meaningful. In my episode with Kat Velos, we dive deep into the friendship garden metaphor and practical ways to cultivate connection that you may find interesting. Follow the link in the show notes. Just like a garden, friendships require nurturing. I've said that multiple times already this episode. But what if there are some friendships that are too far gone, or ones that are harmful rather than helpful? For me, one of the things that's important in friendship is this idea of reciprocity. It's not so much that I want to count how much I've done and how much you've done. In fact, I think keeping track and counting who owes who what could actually be dangerous or harmful to friendship. But it's more like, I want to know that you're as invested in the relationship as I am. I want you to do some of the effort and it not just be me. That's something that's really important to me. So as important as it to cultivate community, it is also important to recognize when a relationship needs to shift. Just like in a garden, sometimes you need to rebalance, you need to prune, you need to give more attention to what's thriving, and sometimes you need to step back from what's no longer serving you. Relationships can change as we grow. You may notice that some connections leave you feeling drained or unseen, while others uplift and energize you. It's okay to invest less energy in relationships that don't support your joy or fulfillment, or in ones that just completely drain you and keep taking from you. This isn't about blame or guilt. You can still love the person while creating more distance. It's about honoring your needs and making space for connections that truly matter, ones that serve everybody in the relationship, ones that help you feel fulfilled. One listener shared that as she focused on building a more joyful, intentional life, she realized she needed to set boundaries with a friend who was always leaving her feeling depleted. She described how, by spending less time with that friend, she was able to invest more in relationships that made her feel valued and supported. That's really the outcome we're going for. And so you may want to take inventory. Are there relationships in your life that feel more draining than nourishing? Where might you need to lovingly step back so you can give more energy to the people and communities where you feel like you can contribute and where you also feel lifted up? Set a simple boundary this week. Say no to one invitation where you think it's not in the best interest of both of you, or limit time with someone who leaves you feeling depleted. Remember that you deserve to be surrounded by those who celebrate and support your growth, people that you enjoy being there for as well. So this week, I invite you to take one small intentional action. Reach out to someone who brings you joy or who you would like to know better. Send a text, schedule a coffee, or simply let them know you're thinking of them. I know some people used to use the app Marco Polo, for example, to send videos to each other on a daily basis. Or maybe a photo comes up in your photos of some time when you were with a friend in the past, and you can just send them that photo as a way to let them know you're thinking of them and reignite the conversation. Notice how even small gestures can spark connection and bring a sense of fulfillment. You deserve a life of joy and connection, and it starts with figuring out what is it that you desire and giving yourself permission to want more, defining fulfillment for yourself, and taking small, brave steps forward. Thank you for listening to this episode of Changes Big and Small. If you're ready for more support, just send an email to me, contact@changesbigandsmall.com. You don't have to know what you want, but you do get to decide, and I'm happy to help you decide. Next time, I'll be talking with Jennifer Clark, who has transformed her life by intentionally building friendships, community, and a new spark in her marriage. If you have a question for Jennifer or a challenge you're facing in building connection, send me a message. I'd love to include your voice in the conversation. Remember, change begins with one small step. Have a great week.